The spotlight hit Aiden like a freight train, blinding him as the auditorium erupted in chaos. "You're a freak!" someone screamed from the back row, the words slicing through the air sharper than any knife. In that frozen second, with his heart thundering against his ribs, Aiden realized the poem he just recited, his soul laid bare on that creaky wooden stage, wasn't just words anymore. It was a confession, and the boy he'd loved in secret was staring up at him, betrayal twisting his features like a storm cloud. Aiden Harper had always been the ghost in the hallways of Elmwood High, the kid who blended into the lockers like wallpaper paste. It was October in rural Ohio, the kind of crisp fall where the leaves turned blood orange and the air smelled like bonfires and regret. At 17, Aiden was tall and lanky, with messy chestnut hair that fell into his hazel eyes no matter how many times he raked a hand through it. He wore faded band tees under hoodies 2 sizes too big, the uniform of someone who wanted to disappear. Elmwood was the sort of town where everyone knew your business before you did. Football Fridays under the floodlights, church potlucks on Sundays, and whispers about the that-way kids who never quite fit. He'd started writing poetry in freshman year, scribbling lines in the margins of his biology notebook when the dissections made his stomach churn. Words were safer than people. They didn't judge, didn't leave. But lately, the poems had turned personal, laced with the ache of stolen glances across the cafeteria. Matthew Ellis was the reason. Quarterback golden boy, with sun-kissed blonde hair, broad shoulders from endless practices, and a smile that could melt the frost off the goalposts. Matthew was everything Aiden wasn't, out and proud in the subtlest ways, rainbow stickers on his truck's bumper, casual mentions of that summer music festival in Columbus where he danced with a guy from Kent State. Elmwood tolerated him because he threw touchdowns like prayers answered. But Aiden was invisible, and that's how he liked it. Or so he told himself. They met in Mr. Hargrove's English Lit class, the one elective Aiden took to Dodge Gym. It was a rainy Tuesday in September, the kind where the sky hung low like it was suffocating the town. Aiden slouched in the back, doodling sonnets about bridges burning, when Matthew slid into the seat beside him. "Hey, man, you got notes from last week? Coach had me benched for that stupid curfew violation." Matthew's voice was all easy drawl, like honey over gravel, and Aiden's pen froze mid-stroke. Yeah. Here. Aiden shoved his notebook over, cheeks burning under the fluorescent buzz. Matthew flipped through it, pausing at a dog-eared page. "Whoa, this is yours?" Shadows whisper secrets to the wind, but lovers' eyes betray the storm within. Damn, dude. That's real. He handed it back with a grin that crinkled the corners of his blue eyes, and Aiden felt something crack open inside him, like a dam holding back a river he'd forgotten existed. From there, it was stolen moments. Study sessions in the library after hours, where Matthew would lean too close over dog-eared copies of Whitman, his knee brushing Aiden's under the table. Leaves of grass. "Huh? Bet he'd get us," Matthew murmured once, his breath warm against Aiden's ear. Aiden laughed it off, but his pulse raced like he'd chugged 3 energy drinks. They talked about everything. Matthew's pressure from his dad, the ex-Marine who pinned yellow ribbons on his Letterman jacket for every game. Aiden's mom, who worked double shifts at the diner and came home smelling like grease and unspoken dreams. "You're easy to talk to," Matthew said one night, as they sat on the bleachers watching the marching band practice. The floodlights hummed, casting their shadows long and tangled. "Most people just want the highlight reel," Aiden wanted to believe it was friendship, but the poems piling up in his journal said otherwise. Lines about ocean waves crashing against forbidden shores, about hands that itched to trace constellations on skin. He burned the first one in the backyard fire pit, watching the embers curl like accusations. Coming out, in Elmwood, it was like painting a target on your back. Last year, Tommy Reyes had tried Whispers About a Kiss behind the gas station, and by spring, he'd transferred to a school 3 counties over, his family packing up under the cover of job relocation. Aiden's dad had left when he was 8, a vague business trip that turned into radio silence. And his mom, God, she loved him fierce, but the cross on the living room wall loomed like a warning. Still, Matthew pulled him in like gravity. One Friday after the homecoming game, Elmwood crushed Riverton 28-14. Matthew texted, "Party at Jake's. Come? Need my lit bro." Aiden stared at the screen in his dimly lit bedroom, posters of the National peeling at the edges. He typed nah, homework, deleted it, typed sure, and hit send before his brain caught up. Jake's place was a sprawling rancher on the edge of town, bass thumping from the basement like a heartbeat on steroids. Red Solo cups littered the lawn, and the air reeked of cheap beer and wet leaves. Aiden hovered by the keg, nursing a soda, when Matthew appeared, still in his jersey, sweat-damp hair sticking to his forehead. "You made it. Come on." Shots. He dragged Aiden to the kitchen, where a circle of jocks cheered as Matthew poured tequila into mismatched glasses. The burn hit Aiden's throat like fire, loosening the knot in his chest. They ended up on the back porch, away from the roar, stars pricking the black sky like hesitant confessions. "You ever feel like you're living someone else's life?" Matthew asked, voice low, passing the bottle. His fingers lingered on Aiden's. Electric. Aiden swallowed hard. "All the time. Like, who even am I under all this noise?" Matthew turned, eyes searching. "You're the guy who writes shit that makes me feel seen. That's enough." And then, impossibly, he leaned in. The kiss was tentative at first, lips soft, tasting of salt and lime, then hungry, hands fisting in Aiden's hoodie as the world narrowed to the press of bodies against the railing. Aiden's mind blanked, fireworks exploding behind his eyelids. This was real. This was them. But secrets in Elmwood festered like untreated wounds. The next week, Matthew pulled back at school, high fives in the hall, bro nods in class, but the texts kept coming. "Missed you at practice. Your poem from yesterday killed me." Aiden floated on it, ignoring the sideways glances from Matthew's teammates. The way Coach Ellis, Matthew's dad, eyed him during pickup like he was sizing up a rival scout. By November, they were stealing hours in Matthew's truck, parked in the old quarry off Route 23. The cab smelled like leather and Gatorade, windows fogged from breaths mingling. "I love this," Matthew whispered one afternoon, tracing Aiden's jaw with calloused fingers. "You. Us." Aiden believed him, let himself drown in the blue of his eyes, the way Matthew's laugh rumbled like thunder after rain. But doubt crept in like frost on the windshield. Matthew dodged questions about telling his friends. "Not yet, babe. It's complicated." And Aiden's journal filled with jagged lines. "He holds me like a secret he might one day burn." At home, his mom noticed the glow. "You seem lighter, kiddo." "Got a girl." She'd ruffle his hair over breakfast pancakes. Oblivious. Aiden forced a smile. Just poetry. Mom. The poetry slam was Mr. Hargrove's brainchild, a safe space event in the auditorium to celebrate National Novel Writing Month. No judgments, the flyer promised, taped crookedly to every bulletin board. Aiden signed up on a whim, fueled by a late-night confession to Matthew. I want to read something real. Matthew squeezed his hand in the dark. Do it. Show him the fire. Rehearsals were in the drama room, a dusty cave of velvet curtains and forgotten props. Aiden paced the stage, voice cracking on lines about hidden rivers carving canyons in the heart. Matthew snuck in once, hiding in the wings, applauding like a one-man crowd when Aiden finished. That's my poet, he said, pulling him into a fierce hug that tasted like promise. Word spread. The slam drew a crowd, kids from the GSA club, teachers with thermoses of coffee, even a few parents clutching programs like shields. Aiden's slot was last, the finale. He chose the poem he'd written for Matthew, the one with stanzas like love letters disguised as metaphors. In the quiet hours, when the world sleeps its heavy sleep, I trace your name on fogged glass, a ghost afraid of dawn. As the lights dimmed and the spotlight found him, Aiden's knees locked. The auditorium hummed with 200 souls. Peers who'd mocked him in whispers, Coach Ellis in the front row, stone-faced. Matthew sat third row center, thumb up, that grin like sunlight. Aiden cleared his throat, the mic feedback a sharp whine. And then he read. The words poured out, raw and unfiltered. The ache of unspoken truths, the terror of touch in a town that preached love but doled it in conditions. We are bridges burned at both ends, lovers dancing on the ashes. Gasps rippled through the seats. Aiden's voice gained strength, fueled by the fire in his chest. He locked eyes with Matthew, pouring every stolen kiss into the lines. When he finished, silence crashed down like a wave. Then, applause tentative at first, then thunderous. Kids whistled. A girl in the back row hooped. Aiden stood there, chest heaving, tears pricking his eyes. This was it. Exposed. Alive. But as he stepped off stage, the whispers started. Wait, is that about? No way. Harper's one of them. And then, cutting through like glass, Matthew's voice, from the aisle, loud enough for the cluster of jocks nearby. Dude, that was intense. But, like, you good? That sounded kinda personal. Aiden froze, the bouquet of roses from Mr. Hargrove slipping in his sweaty palm. Matthew's eyes darted away, face flushed, not with pride, but panic. The betrayal landed like a gut punch. In that moment, as the crowd milled and congratulations blurred into white noise, Aiden saw it clear. Matthew had never planned to stand with him. The golden boy, protecting his throne. He bolted for the side exit, the auditorium doors slamming behind him like a full stop. The night air bit cold, stars mocking from above. Aiden sank against the brick wall, sobs racking his frame. Everything, the kisses, the whispers, the I love you gasped in the quarry's dust, crumbled to ash. Inside, the after-party buzzed on, but Matthew lingered by the stage, phone in hand. Wait, please. I freaked. Come back. Text after text lit up Aiden's screen, unread. He walked home under sodium lamps, leaves crunching like brittle bones. Elmwood streets were empty, save for the distant howl of a train, carrying secrets south. Morning came gray and unforgiving. Aiden skipped school, burrowing under quilts that smelled like his mom's lavender detergent. She knocked softly at noon. "Aiden?" Hargrove called. "Said you were brilliant last night." Her voice cracked with pride he didn't deserve. He mumbled something about a cold, but she pushed in anyway, perching on the bed's edge. "Honey, whatever it is, you can tell me." He wanted to. God, he did. But the words stuck, thorns in his throat. Instead, he let her hug him, her arms a safe harbor in the storm. By afternoon, the texts from Matthew had turned desperate. "I'm sorry. Dad overheard." "It's bad." Aiden's thumb hovered over block, but curiosity or masochism won. "What happened?" "He lost it. Said I was influenced through my phone. I told him about us. Kinda." Aiden's heart stuttered. Out loud. The quarry kiss replayed, sweet and searing. But betrayal's sting lingered. "Kinda? You threw me under the bus last night." "No." Panicked. "Jocks were there. But I fixed it. Told Dad the truth." The ellipsis danced for an eternity. "Then he's kicking me out. Tonight." Aiden sat up, world tilting. He pictured Matthew's truck, rainbow stickers peeling in the rain. The golden boy, dethroned. Guilt twisted in his gut. Had his poem triggered this? Or was it inevitable, like leaves falling? He dressed in a blur, hoodie zipped to his chin, and biked to Matthew's place. 3 miles of gravel roads that jarred his bones. The Ellis house loomed colonial style, American flag limp on the porch. Matthew's truck sat in the drive, tailgate down, duffel spilling clothes like guts. Matthew emerged from the garage, eyes red-rimmed, a black eye blooming purple under his left socket. "Aiden." The word broke, and he crossed the lawn in 3 strides, pulling Aiden into a crush of flannel and desperation. "I'm sorry. For everything. The stage." I froze. "But I couldn't let you think." Coach Ellis's voice boomed from the door. "Matthew, get your shit and go." He was a wall of khaki and fury, veins bulging like rivers on a map. "And you?" His glare pinned Aiden. "Stay the hell away from my son. Whatever poison you're peddling." "Dad." "Stop." Matthew shoved between them, duffels slung over his shoulder. "Aiden's not poison. He's the best thing that's happened to me. And yeah, I'm gay. Deal with it." The words hung, heavy as humidity. Coach's face purpled, fist clenching. "After everything I gave you, the team, this house." He jabbed a finger at Aiden. "He ruined you." "No," Matthew said, voice steel. "Hiding did. Aiden showed me how to be brave." He turned to Aiden, eyes fierce. "Ride with me?" "To the quarry." Aiden nodded, numb. They loaded the truck in silence, Coach's curses chasing them like buckshot. As they peeled out, gravel spitting, Aiden glanced back. The flag fluttered defiant, a relic of wars unspoken. The quarry was twilight-haunted, water black as ink below the cliffs. They sat on the tailgate, beers cracked from a hidden six-pack, the world reduced to crickets and distant semis on the interstate. Matthew's black eye swelled, a badge of honor or shame. Aiden couldn't decide. "I should have stood up last night," Matthew said finally, voice gravel. "When they laughed. I saw it in your eyes, the hurt. And I let fear win." Aiden stared at the horizon, where the sun bled orange into purple. Why'd you even start with me, the invisible kid? Because you saw me. Not the QB, not the coach's son. Just Matt. He reached for Aiden's hand, tentative. And that poem? It was us. Every line. I love you for it. The words landed soft, mending cracks Aiden hadn't named. He leaned in, forehead to Matthew's, breath sinking. Love you too. But this, your dad. The town. It's gonna be hell. Matthew chuckled, bittersweet. Hell's what we make it. Mom's already texting. Says stay with Aunt Lena in Cleveland till I sort community college apps. She gets it. Quietly. They kissed then. Slow and sure. The quarry echoing their quiet gasps. No hiding. No stages. Just two boys rewriting their story under indifferent stars. Back in Elmwood. Ripples spread. Whispers turned to talks. The GSA club swelled. Rainbow pins glinting like rebellions. Mr. Hargrove posted Aiden's poem on the lit board, courage in verse, and kids lingered, reading lines like maps to their own hidden selves. Aiden's mom found out over Thanksgiving turkey, when he set an extra plate for Matthew, crashing from Cleveland with a duffel and a tentative smile. So, that's the poetry glow. Huh? She said, eyes twinkling over mashed potatoes. No cross-looming judgment, just a hug that smelled like home. Proud of you, kiddo. Both of you. Coach Ellis softened by spring. Begrudging game tickets in the mail. A gruff good game after Matthew's rec league touchdown. Not forgiveness, but a thaw. Elmwood didn't change overnight. Taunts lingered like bad aftertaste. But Aiden walked halls head high, Matthew's hand brushing his in passing. A secret no more. Graduation came under June skies, caps tossed like confetti prayers. Aiden read another poem from the podium about bridges rebuilt, not burned, voice steady, crowd hushed. Matthew hooped loudest, black eye a faded memory, future bright as the diploma in his fist. They drove west that summer, Matthew's truck loaded with dreams. Community college for Aiden's writing, coaching certs for Matt. The quarry faded in the rear view, a chapter closed. Ahead, interstates unspooling like poems unwritten. In the end, it wasn't the stage that showed who Aiden was. It was the boy beside him, hand in hand, proving love's the truest reveal. The road to California stretched like a promise unkept. Mile markers ticking off the miles from Ohio's flatlands to the sprawl of dreams out west. Aiden shifted in the passenger seat, one boot propped on the dash, journal splayed open on his lap. Matthew's truck hummed steady, country radio crooning low about lost highways and second chances. It was late July, air thick with the scent of sagebrush and freedom, windows down to let the wind whip their hair into chaos. You writing again? Matthew glanced over, one hand loose on the wheel, the other drumming a rhythm on Aiden's knee. His black eye had yellowed to a bruise's ghost, but the spark in his blue eyes burned brighter than ever. Aiden smirked, pen pausing midline. Always. This one's about you, quarterback turned road warrior, conquering sunsets instead of goal lines. Matthew laughed, that deep rumble Aiden could feel in his bones. Make me sound heroic. None of that wounded exile crap. He squeezed Aiden's thigh, thumb tracing lazy circles. Though, gotta admit, ditching Dad's shadow feels pretty epic. Epic. The word hung between them, laced with the grit of what they'd left. Elmwood receded in the mirrors weeks ago, but its echoes lingered. Coach's final bellow as they loaded up, "Don't come crawling back," and the quiet support of Aiden's mom, slipping 20s into his glove box with a call every Sunday. Here, she'd hugged Matthew too, fierce as a mama bear, whispering, "Take care of my boy." They'd aimed for San Francisco at first, rainbow flags waving like welcomes, coffee shops buzzing with poets who looked like they stepped from Aiden's pages. But detours called, a week in Denver hiking Rocky Mountain trails, where Matthew proposed a pact under aspen leaves. No more hiding. Ever. Aiden sealed it with a kiss that tasted like pine and possibility. Now, pushing into Nevada's heat, doubts nipped at Aiden's heels. "What if it's all hype?" he murmured, watching mirages dance on the asphalt. The city, everyone out, proud, writing their truths. We show up like small-town strays, and what? Get lost in the noise. Matthew's hand stilled. Then we make our own noise. Your words, my arm around you in public. We're not strays, Aiden. We're survivors. He pulled over at a dusty rest stop, picnic tables scarred by initials from lovers long gone. They ate gas station subs under a relentless sun, feeding each other bites between kisses that drew wolf whistles from truckers. See? Already starting. San Francisco hit like a fever dream. Fog rolling over Golden Gate cables like smoke from a dragon's breath. Haight-Ashbury streets alive with buskers strumming Dylan covers. They crashed in a shared flat in the Castro, peeling Victorian with 6 roommates, a mix of baristas, drag queens, and graphic designers who adopted them like stray kittens. "Fresh meat," crowed Lexi, a firecracker with neon hair and a tattoo sleeve of literary quotes, tossing them keys on night 1. House rules. No drama. All diva. Life slotted in jagged but real. Matthew waitered at a diner called the Golden Spoon, slinging pancakes to hungover hipsters while flirting shamelessly with Aiden over coffee runs. "Extra foam for my muse," he'd wink, slipping a napkin doodle, a cartoon of them as superheroes, capes fluttering. Aiden tempied at an indie bookstore, shelving queer lit and leading impromptu readings in the back room. His poems found ink in zines, chapbooks traded like contraband at open mics. Nights were theirs, wandering mission murals under street lamp glow, hands laced without fear, or tangled in sheets that smelled like patchouli and salt air. "I could stay like this forever," Aiden breathed one dawn, tracing Matthew's spine as sunlight slanted through lace curtains. Matthew rolled over, pinning him with a grin. "Forever's the plan. College absent SF state for both. Lit for you, kinesiology for me. Coach in training, minus the bigotry, but shadows crept, subtle as fog." Matthew's calls home grew terse. Coach's voicemails a barrage of, "When you coming to your senses?" Aiden overheard one night, Matthew pacing the fire escape. "Dad, it's not a phase. I love him." Silence. Then a slammed phone. Aiden pulled him inside, held him through the shakes. "He'll come around. Or he won't. But you've got me." Aiden's own ghost stirred too. A reading at the Bindery, a dimly lit basement venue with brick walls and candle flicker, drew a crowd of artists in berets and irony. He climbed the stool, mic heavy in his palm, and unleashed a piece about betrayal's bite, the stage, the freeze frame of Matthew's flinch. Words tumbled fierce. "You wore my heart like a trophy," then dropped it for the crowd's roar. The room leaned in, breaths held, then exploded in snaps and cheers. A woman in the front row, silver-streaked hair and eyes like polished stones, pressed a card into his hand post set. Eleanor Voss. Publisher. That gutted me. Coffee? Eleanor became a mentor of sorts. Lunches at hole-in-the-wall Takarius. Dissecting drafts over horchata. Your voice is raw. Aiden. American Gothic with a queer twist. Lean into the ache. She shopped his manuscript, a collection titled Ashes on the Goal Line, to small presses, rejections piling like autumn leaves. But one bit, Lavender Ink, a boutique out of Oakland, offered a contract. $500 advance. 1,000 copy run. Aiden danced Matthew around their shoebox kitchen, takeout boxes scattering like confetti. To my poet laureate, Matthew toasted with boxed wine, pulling him onto the counter. Their lovemaking was celebratory, urgent bodies mapping familiar territories with renewed hunger. Afterward, sated and sticky, Aiden whispered fears into the dark. What if it flops? Or worse, what if it sells and Elmwood finds out? Mom's already fielding busybody calls. Matthew's arms tightened. Then they see you soared. We're not that town anymore. October brought rain. Relentless sheets that turned streets to rivers. Matthew's birthday fell on a Tuesday. Diner shift dragging till close. Aiden planned a surprise. Rooftop picnic under strung lights, pilfered from Lexi's drag stash. He lugged a cooler up 3 flights, sandwiches from the deli, a cake frosted with quarterback of my heart, and waited, journal open to a new poem. But Matthew didn't show. Texts pinged unanswered. Rooftop? You okay? By 11. Worry nod. Aiden trekked to the diner, bell jingling over grease-scented air. Empty booths. A lone cook flipping patties. Matt? He bounced early. Said something about a call. A call. Aiden's stomach dropped. He cabbed home, rain lashing windows like accusations. The flat was dark, but Matthew's truck keys glinted on the hall table. Babe, Aiden called, heart hammering. A rustle from the bedroom. Matthew emerged, face ashen, phone clutched like a grenade. Aid. His dad. Heart attack. Yesterday. He's stable, but they want me home. Now, the world tilted. Ohio called, a siren's wail across the miles. Matthew paced, words tumbling. Mom's a wreck. Coach God. He collapsed at the field, yelling at refs. I gotta go. Aiden nodded, numbness spreading. I'll come. Book flights. No. Matthew stopped, eyes pleading. Stay. You're reading tomorrow, Eleanor's coming. The big one. Don't tank it for this. For us. Aiden's voice cracked. You're family to me. Matthew pulled him close, chin on Aiden's crown. And you're my anchor. But Dad. He might not make it. I need to face this alone first. Prove I'm still his son. Alone. The word echoed betrayal's echo. Aiden searched his face, seeing the boy from the auditorium, panicked, pulling away. Don't do this. We're a team. I know. Matthew kissed him fierce, tasting of salt. Bus tickets cheaper. I'll call from the station. Love you. He left at dawn. Duffel slung. Rain a curtain behind him. Aiden watched the truck vanish, taillights blurring red. The flat echoed empty. Roommates' laughter from the kitchen a hollow soundtrack. The reading was a blur, spotlight hot. Words mechanical. Eleanor clapped post-set, brow furrowed. Powerful, but distant. Everything okay? Aiden forced a smile. Family stuff. It'll pass. Didn't. Days bled into a week. Calls came sporadic. Mom's holding up. Dad's grumbling about hospital jello. Then silence. Texts unread. Voicemails pleading, miss you. Call? Aiden buried in revisions. Lavender Ink's deadlines looming like storm fronts. Lexi dragged him to bars. Shots burning away the ache. But mornings brought nausea, fear, not regret. On day 10, a knock shattered the quiet. Eleanor, umbrella dripping, manuscript in hand. He's ghosting you, not a question. She pushed inside, brewing tea strong as truth. Men like that, good hearts. Scared souls, they run when it hurts. You deserve steady. Aiden sank to the couch, tears hot. He said forever, forever's break. She squeezed his shoulder. Write it out. Let the pain fuel the fire. He did. Pages poured. You drove east to bury ghosts, left me west with echoes. The manuscript deepened, layers of loss weaving through love's triumph. Lavender Ink ate it up. Authentic, the editor emailed. Hits like a revelation. Matthew surfaced 2 weeks in. Voice tinny over spotty connection. Aid. I'm sorry. It's been hell. Dad's home. But therapy, family talks. He's trying. Asking about you. Aiden's throat tightened. Trying. That's something. Come see? Greyhound's $70. He went. The bus ride was purgatory, endless blacktop. Heart a drum solo. Elmwood greeted gray. Leaves skeletal under November skies. Matthew waited at the station. Thinner. I shadowed. But his hug crushed doubts. Missed you so damn much. The Ellis house was truce flagged. Coach in his recliner. Oxygen tube snaking. But gaze softer. Harper. A nod. Not warm. But civil. Heard about your book. Coach says words matter. Aiden blinked. Thank you, sir. Dinner was awkward grace. Pot roast and small talk. Mom Ellis's smiles a bridge. Later, in Matthew's old room, posters faded. They reclaimed the bed, bodies fitting like puzzle pieces long separated. I ran, Matthew confessed, fingers tracing Aiden's ribs. Scared I'd lose him and you. Stupid. Forgiven. Aiden kissed the apology away. But no more solos. No more. Promise sealed in whispers. They returned west together, truck laden with Ohio care packages. Mom's cookies. Coach's grunt of don't screw up. San Francisco welcomed back with open arms. Fog parting for clearer skies. Winter brought snow to the bay. Rare and magical. Aiden's launch party packed the bindery. Eleanor toasting. Lexi emceeing in sequence. Matthew stood front row. Eyes proud as Aiden read from ashes. From stages small to horizons wide. We burn bright, unashamed. Sales trickled. Then surged bookstores in Portland. Zine fests in LA. Matthew started classes. Aiden too. Their flat, a nest of textbooks and takeout. Doubts? Occasional, like rain squalls. But mornings dawned with coffee and kisses. Evenings with hands entwined on hate sidewalks. One April night, as cherry blossoms dusted the park, Matthew dropped to one knee under lantern glow. Not a ring, a poem, handwritten, rolled like a scroll. Marry me? Not today, but when we're ready. Build that forever. Aiden pulled him up. Yes, a breath against lips. Yes. All in. The town that birthed their hiding now faded footnote. They were the story now, dramatic, emotional, romantic, human. Two boys from Ohio's heartland, hearts open, roads ahead endless. Spring in San Francisco unfurled like a secret kept too long, petals scattering pink confetti across the cracked sidewalks of the Mission. Aiden and Matthew's life had settled into a rhythm as steady as the cable cars clanging up Hyde Street, mornings tangled in thrift store sheets, afternoons split between lectures and lattes, evenings chasing sunsets from Twin Peaks' crest. The proposal lingered like a melody half-sung, a someday etched in the margins of Aiden's latest chapbook. Vows in verse, he titled it, drafts scribbled on napkins during Matthew's coaching clinics at the rec center. "You're glowing," Lexi teased one Saturday, as they prepped for the house's annual queer prom bash, a riot of DIY tuxes and disco balls in the Victorians' cavernous living room. She adjusted Aiden's bow tie, borrowed from a drag trunk, the satin gleaming electric blue. "That rockless ring Matthew slipped you? It's working magic." Aiden flushed, fiddling with the cufflinks, silver footballs engraved with poet and player. "It's not magic. Just finally feels solid." Lexi snorted, spritzing glitter into her updo. "Solids for bridges. Honey. Loves the earthquake that tests him." She winked, but her words lodged like pebbles in Aiden's shoe, small irritants foreshadowing shifts. The party pulsed with bass and laughter, bodies swaying under fairy lights strung like constellations. Matthew arrived late, fresh from subbing a youth soccer drill, his polo untucked and hair windswept. He cut through the crowd like a beacon, pulling Aiden into a slow dance amid the throng. "Missed you today," he murmured, lips brushing ear. "Kids asked about my poet boyfriend. Had to show pics." Aiden's chest warmed. "Bragging rights. Damn straight." Matthew's grin flashed white, hands sliding low on Aiden's hips. They moved to the beat, world narrowing to sweat-slick skin and shared breaths. Later, on the fire escape with stolen champagne, Matthew traced the proposal poem's lines on Aiden's palm. "Someday soon, City Hall. Vows under that ridiculous rotunda." Aiden leaned in, tasting bubbles and promise. "Soon, but earthquakes, as Lexi warned, rumble without mercy." It started with a letter, crisp envelope from Elmwood, postmarked in Coach Ellis's blocky scrawl. Matthew slid it open over breakfast burritos, face paling. "Dad's retiring. Stroke complications. Wants me back for the ceremony. Family duty." Aiden set down his fork, coffee bitter on his tongue. "Go. We'll go. Is healing, right?" Matthew folded the paper neat, eyes distant. "Yeah. But the town's throwing a banquet. Speeches, spotlight. Old ghosts. They flew economy, cramped wings carrying them east over amber waves. Elmwood hadn't changed. Same sagging porches, same flagpole creaking in the wind, but Matthew had. He walked Main Street tall, Aiden's hand in his, ignoring the stares from gas station pumps. Coach greeted them at the door, Freilier in khakis, but his handshake crushed. "Good to see you, son." And Aiden, a beat, then heard the book selling. Mom brags. Dinner was potluck casual, casseroles bubbling, aunts cooing over the boys. Whispers circulated. Coach's kid, hitched to that writer fella. But the warmth seeped in, tentative as spring thaw. The banquet swelled the VFW hall, balloons bobbing like buoys, tables groaning under fried chicken and pie. Matthew's speech was gold, tributes to gridiron glories, laced with lessons in loss, love's unexpected plays. The crowd hooped, but Aiden caught the undercurrent. Eyes on them, the gay sons returned, unapologetic. After, in the parking lot under sodium haze, an old teammate cornered Matthew, Jake from high school, beer belly straining his Letterman. Heard you're coaching queers now? Dad says it's a phase. But, slurred laugh, clap on the shoulder too hard. Matthew stiffened, but Aiden stepped forward, voice even. It's called progress, Jake. Try keeping up. Jake blinked, ambled off muttering. Matthew exhaled, pulling Aiden close. My hero. But in the motel that night, his sleep was restless, dreams murmuring old fears. Back in the bay, fault lines cracked wider. Matthew's phone buzzed constant. Recruits from Elmwood High. Need a QB coach? Town misses you. Offer sweetened. Head spot. Housing stipend. It's home, he said one night, pacing their flat as rain lashed windows. Dad's fading. I could make a difference, show kids it's okay to be. On my terms. Aiden's gut twisted. Here. You're building something. Our something. I know. Matthew sank beside him, head in hands. But family pulls. What if? Don't. Aiden cupped his face, thumbs brushing stubble. We chose this. Us. The fight simmered low, unspoken. Matthew accepted a guest spot weekend clinic in Ohio, just to test waters. Aiden waved him off at SFO, kiss lingering. Call every night. He didn't. Not always. Texts clipped. Kids great. Dad stronger. Aiden filled voids with words, vows, revisions. Open mics where crowds snapped approval. Eleanor lunched, probing. Trouble brewing? Just distance. Aiden shrugged. He'll be back. He was tanned and torn. The airport hug crushed, but Matthew's eyes darted. Baggage claim conveyor mirroring his churn. They offered full-time. Said maybe. Aiden recoiled, words sharp. Maybe, we have classes. The flat. Plans. It's not forever. Matthew's voice rose. Rare fracture. You write from anywhere. I need this, to prove I'm more than the runaway son. And I'm the anchor you drag? Aiden's chest heaved. Elmwood broke us once. Don't let it again. They stormed silent. Flat a minefield. Lexi mediated over wine. Talk it out. Dummies. But pride walled them. Matthew slept on the couch. Aiden in bed staring at ceilings cracked like hearts. The quake hit at dawn. 3 weeks in. Matthew's alarm blared. Another Ohio call. Aiden stirred. Voice muffled. Go if you want. But choose. Matthew paused. Duffel half-packed. Aid. Us or them. The ultimatum hung. Ugly but necessary. He chose. Zipper rasped shut. I love you. But this. It's family. Door clicked soft. Final as a period. Aiden curled fetal. Sobs silent. The flat echoed vast. Roommates tiptoeing. He called Mom. Voice breaking over transatlantic static. He left. Oh. Honey. Her pause. Then steel. Come home. We'll mend. But home was fractured too. Aiden flew solo. Elmwood's airport a ghost town. Mom enveloped him at baggage. No questions, just pie and porch swings. Whispers swirled. Matthew's back. Head coach now. Shame bout the split. Coach cornered him at the diner. Coffee steaming between them. Boys lost without you. Moping through practices. Scribbling like you. A sigh. Heavy. I pushed. My fault. Aiden stirred sugar endless. Love's not a playbook. Sir. No. Coach's eyes. Faded blue. Met his. But forgiveness is. Tell him that. He almost did. Spotted Matthew at the quarry. Truck idling. Staring water like answers. But pride held wave instead of words. Matthew's face crumpled. Truck peeling gravel away. Summer dragged. Aiden crashing mom's spare. Words his lifeline. Vows published mid-July. Launch in Columbus. Ironic heartbeat from home. Eleanor flew in. Crowd eclectic. Zine kids. Lit profs. A smattering of Elmwood curious. He read the title piece. We pledged in whispers. Broke in thunder. Rebuild in rain's quiet mercy. Snaps swelled to applause. In the throng. A familiar blonde head Matthew. Tie crooked. Eyes red. Bought 3 copies. One for Dad. Aiden's throat closed. Why? To remember. Matthew pressed a book into his hands. Fingers brushing. I chose wrong. Resigned yesterday. Booked a flight west. If you'll have me. The air crackled. Old sparks igniting. Aiden searched his face. Vulnerable. True. Prove it. I will. Matthew's voice cracked. Every day, they flew together at dusk. Hands clasped over rocky snowcaps. San Francisco greeted with fog-kissed bridges. Flatmates cheering with cake. Rebuilding was tentative therapy sessions in No Valley. Date nights at oyster bars. Poems co-written on park benches. Fall leaves turned. Vows climbing indie lists. Matthew subbed locally. Aiden taught workshops. The proposal poem yellowed on the fridge. Someday ripening. One crisp October eve. As acorns crunched underfoot in Golden Gate Park. Matthew knelt again, this time with a ring. Simple gold band etched with a line from Aiden's first poem. Shadows whisper, but we roar. Marry me. Now. City Hall tomorrow. Aiden pulled him up. Yes, a vow sealed in salt tears. Now. The ceremony was small. Lexi officiating in glitter. Eleanor snapping pics. Mom beaming via Zoom. Rings exchanged under Rotunda's dome. Vows whispered fierce. In hiding and revealing. Through quakes and calms. I choose you. They honeymooned in Big Sur. Cliffs dropping to Pacific roar. Bodies and souls mending in salt spray. Back home. Life wove tighter. Coaching queer youth leagues. Aiden's TEDx talk on poetry as coming out. Elmwood called at Christmas. Coach, cane in hand. Inviting the family for turkey. Matthew accepted. Aiden beside. The table groaned abundance. Toasts awkward but earnest. To second halves, Coach raised glass. Eyes misty. Outside, snow dusted the quarry, turning scars to silver. They stood tailgate perched, breaths fogging. We made it, Matthew said, arm around Aiden's waist. We did. Aiden leaned in, world vast and kind. Love, they learned, wasn't absence of tremors, but dancing through them, hand in unyielding hand. Winter's grip on San Francisco was a sly one. more chill than bite, wrapping the city in damp veils that clung to wool coats and whispered of changes yet to come. Aidan and Matthew's wedding band glinted like a secret shared, simple gold catching light in the most mundane moments, a flicker over morning oatmeal, a gleam during Matthew's rec league huddles. Their flat had evolved too, bookshelves sagging under Aidan's growing collection, a corkboard pinned with coaching schedules and reading invites, the air perennially scented by Lexi's incense experiments. "You're domestic as hell now," Lexi declared one frosty evening, as they decked the Victorians' halls with thrift store tinsel and fairy lights that blinked like Morse code for joy. She hung a wreath woven with rainbow ribbons, stepping back to admire. Next up, adopting a rescue pup and arguing over whose turn it is to vacuum. Matthew chuckled from the ladder, where he strung garland with the precision of a playbook diagram. Guilty. But Aidan's on dishes duty eternal, poet's hands too delicate for suds. Aidan swatted him with a velvet Santa hat, cheeks flushing under the tree's glow. "Lies. You're just lazy." But his laugh bubbled genuine, the ease of their banter a balm after years of fractures. Marriage wasn't fireworks every day, but steady hearth. Nights curled under quilts watching old rom-coms, mornings with coffee brewed strong and kisses lazy. Yet, under the cheer, tremors echoed. Aidan's star rose swift. Vows in verse snagged a Lambda literary nod. Panels at lit fests from Seattle to Santa Fe. He jetted solo for a Boston book tour, leaving Matthew to hold the fort. 2 weeks max, Aidan promised at the gate, ring finger twinned. "Read every night?" Matthew grinned, stealing a last kiss. "Your words or mine? The dirty ones." "Both." Aidan's wink masked the twinge. Distance, even brief, stirred old ghosts. Boston was brick and history, cobblestones slick with December slush. Crowds filled indie shops, snapping pics as Aidan signed stacks, his voice carrying tales of Ohio stages and California vows. "Writing saved me," he told a queer youth group at Harvard Square, eyes on faces mirroring his younger self wide-eyed, hungry for hope. "It shouted what I couldn't." Backstage after one event, a fan lingered, Theo, mid-20s, with sharp cheekbones and a manuscript under arm. "Your betrayal piece? Hit home." "I'm querying, mind notes." Theo's smile was disarming, eyes dark pools of shared scars. They grabbed coffee, words flowing easy, rejections, muses, the ache of outness in conservative clans. "You're brave," Theo said, stirring foam. "That auditorium moment? Legend." Aidan waved it off, but the validation warmed. Text to Matthew pinged constant. Crowd loved the Corey stanza. "Miss your laugh." Replies came quick at first. "Proud of you, hubby." "Kids nailed a drill today." Then lagged, swamped. Practice ran late. Homecoming was airport arms and takeout tie. Matthew's hug bone crushed tight. "Missed this," he murmured into Aidan's neck, but exhaustion etched his face. Lines deeper, eyes shadowed. Leagues expanding. Head coach offer for spring. Aidan pulled back, searching. "Full-time? That's huge." "Yeah." Matthew's grin faltered. "But travel. Tournaments in LA. Maybe nationals." "You okay?" "Okay." Aidan forced bright. "Your dream. We'll sync calendars like pros." They did. First. Matthew jetted south. Aidan north to readings. Calls bridged gaps. Read to a packed house in Portland. Wish you were here for the after-party poetry slam. Matthew's voice crackled from a hotel in San Diego. Kids crushed it. But damn, I need your voice to unwind. Cracks spidered subtle. Missed connections piled. Matthew's flight delayed. Aiden's panel overrun. A weekend in Tahoe for us time dissolved in blizzards. Cabin fever turning to cabin fights. You're always gone. Aiden snapped over mulled wine. Fire crackling accusation. This is marriage, not parallel lives. Matthew's jaw set. Says the jet-set author. I'm building legacy. For us. Legacy? Aiden's laugh bittered. Or escape. Silence ice thicker than snow. They thawed in apologies. Bodies seeking solace. But the chill lingered. Spring bloomed treacherous. Aiden's agent buzzed. Major press sniffing. Memoir deal? Your story's gold. Offers flooded. 6 figures. Book tour nationwide. This could launch you, agent gushed. Aiden signed. Pulse racing New York. Chicago. LA. Matthew's league boomed too. Semifinals berth. Scouts whispering pro pipelines. Proud. He asked over FaceTime from Atlanta. Arena roar faint behind. Always. But Aiden's smile strained. Hotel room sterile around him. When's home? Soon. Vague as fog. The betrayal brewed slow. A storm gathering over bay waters. It broke in July. Heat wave wilting the city. Aiden landed from a Miami signing. Cab racing through gridlock. Craving Matthew's arms. The flat was dark. Note on fridge. Emergency tourney in Reno. Back in 3. Love. 3 days stretched eternal. Aiden paced. Journal blank. Calling unanswered. On day 2. Lexi knocked. Face grim. Babe. Saw this. She slid her phone over. Ex-post from a league insider. Ellis crushes finals. Rumored to bolt for pro dev role in Texas. Who's the mystery motivator? Texas. The word gutted. Aiden scrolled comments. Heard he's hitched. Poet hubby cool with the Lone Star leap. Heart hammering. He dialed. Voicemail. Hey. It's Matt. Leave a. Call me. Now. Click. Return was midnight taxi. Matthew tumbling in reeking of victory sweat and stale beer. Aid. We won. State champs. He lunged for a hug. But Aiden sidestepped. Arms crossed. Texas. Matthew froze. Grin crumbling. Scouts approached. It's huge. 6 figures. Youth program lead. I was gonna tell you in person. After signing? Aiden's voice rose. Bro. We vowed together. Not you chasing glory. Me trailing. It's for us. Matthew's hands raked hair. Stability. Your book's blowing up, we could buy a place. Start that family talk. Family? Aiden laughed hollow. You mean kids? When? Between flights. The fight escalated. Words weapons. Selfish jet-setter. Ambitious ghost. Plates rattled. Lexi banging from her room. Walls are thin. Drama queens. Matthew stormed to the couch. Aiden to bed. Sleep evading like trust. Dawn brought coffee truce. But fractures ran deep. I need time, Matthew said. Mug steaming. Visit Texas. See if it's real. Go. Aiden's whisper broke. But decide. All in. Or. Out. He left for a week. Dallas heat. Tour of academies. Texts trickled. Impressive. Kids need me. Aiden holed in the flat. Words venomous. Texas or us. Choose. Return was airport standoff. Matthew's duffel heavy. I turned it down. But, Abe, this life, your tours, my games. We're drifting. Aiden's world tilted. Drifting or growing? Matthew's eyes welled. I love you. But maybe. Space. Trial separation. Figure if we fit anymore. Separation. The word eviscerated. Aiden nodded numb. Ring heavy as lead. Space. He moved to Eleanor's guest cottage in Oakland. Cozy nest of books and bay views. Days blurred. Therapy with a soft-spoken doc named Ravi. Walks along estuary trails where egrets fished silent. Words flowed cathartic, new manuscript. Fractures and vows. Chapters bleeding, betrayals fresh cut. Matthew's updates sporadic. Crashed with Lexi. Miss you. Aiden replied clipped. Heart armor-plated. Mom called weekly. Love bends. Doesn't break. Give it air. Fall strip trees bare. Mirroring souls. A joint reading in the Castro Aiden's launch. Matthew guest coaching a pre-event workshop for queer athletes. Forced collision. Backstage. Air thick. You came, Aiden said. Voice small. Wouldn't miss. Matthew's hand brushed his. Electric. Read killer. That separation stanza? Ouch. Aiden swallowed. Truth hurts. Post-event. Over burritos at a taqueria. Walls tumbled. I panicked, Matthew confessed. Salsa sharp on his tongue. Fame pulling us, scared we'd lose us. Me too. Aiden's ring finger ached empty. Band tucked in a drawer. But running? That's the real fracture. Matthew nodded. Tears tracing salt tracks. Counseling? Together. Together. Aiden's hand found his across the table. Fingers lacing tentative. Reunion was slow burn coffee dates. No overnights. Rebuilding like houses post-quake. Therapy unpacked layers. Matthew's coach dad legacy. Aiden's abandonment scars. We're not Elmwood boys anymore, Ravi affirmed. You're men. Choosing daily. By Thanksgiving, they reclaimed the flat. Boxes unpacked. Tree twinkling forgiveness. Mom visited. Stuffing devoured amid toasts. To mended hearts. Christmas brought snow flurries. Rare magic. Under mistletoe, Matthew knelt once more. Ring reclaimed. Second vow? No spaces. Only us. Aiden pulled him up. Yes, a whisper fierce. Only us. The year turned. Trials forging steel. Aiden's memoir deal ballooned. Film option whispers from L.A. Matthew's league promoted him local director. Balance struck. They adopted Milo. A scruffy mutt with one ear flop. Walks a ritual of leashes and laughter. One starry April night, as Milo snored at their feet, Aiden read from fractures we cracked, but gold filled the breaks. Kintsugi hearts, shining brighter. Matthew's arm tightened. Our story, human, flawed, enduring. In America's vast tapestry, their thread wove resilient. Love not despite storms, but through them. Summer's symphony in San Francisco was a crescendo of foghorns and fairy whistles, the city pulsing with festivals and fireflies of tourists chasing the elusive sun. Aiden and Matthew's life, post-reckoning, hummed with a deepened harmony. Mornings starting with Milo's wet nose alarm, afternoons split between Aiden's writing desk overlooking the bay and Matthew's office at the rec center, where he molded young athletes into teams unbreakable. The rings on their fingers, once talismans of trial, now gleamed badges of battles won. You're writing again, Matthew noted one lazy Sunday, sprawled on their balcony with iced tea sweating condensation. Aiden's laptop balanced on knees, fingers flying across keys. Below, the Presidio's greens rolled to ocean's edge, kites dancing like liberated dreams. Always, Aiden glanced up, smile soft. This one's different, our future. Milo chapters, maybe. Or the kid talk. Matthew's brow arched, hope flickering. Kid? As in? Aiden set the laptop aside, leaning to lace fingers. Surrogate scouting. Saw an agency ad, queer families welcome. Thought. Why not dream bigger? Matthew's kiss was answer enough, slow, sun-warmed, tasting of possibility. They'd broached it in therapy, post-separation scars still pink. Adoption, fostering, the patchwork paths to parenthood. No rush, Matthew had said then. But yeah. Someday dads. Someday accelerated. Fall brought leaves in russet drifts, and Aiden's fractures and vows debuted to acclaim, NPR spots, bookstore crawls where fans queued for signatures and stories. Your honesty guts me, a teen murmured in Seattle. I shiny. Makes my coming out feel possible. Aiden hugged him fierce. It is. One poem at a time. Matthew tagged along when circuits allowed. His presence a steady orbit, holding coats, snapping candids, whispering kill it pre-stage. Off tour, they dove into agency meets, profiles of hopeful surrogates, workshops on co-parenting queers. Two dads, poet and coach, Matthew joked at one seminar, drawing laughs. Our kids' bedtime stories? Epic plays and epic lays, lays of grass. Aiden elbowed him, cheeks hot, but the vision-rooted nursery sketches on fridge. Onesies monogrammed Harper Ellis. Winter whispered warnings, though. Coach Ellis's health waned. Second stroke. Voice a rasp over holiday calls. Come home, son. See the field one last time. Matthew booked flights. Aiden beside. Milo boarded with Lexi. Elmwood blanketed white. A Norman Rockwell painting cracked at edges. The house sagged under icicles, but Mom Ellis's embrace warmed. Coach held court from bed. Monitors beeping soft. Eyes sharper than memory. Brought the poet, he grunted, extending a hand. Heard the book's a hit. Sign one for the mantle. Aiden did, dedicating to the man who taught second chances. Coach's grip lingered. You too. Fixed what I broke. Grateful. The funeral came swift. January gray. Snow fell fat flakes as the VFW filled. Teammates in Letterman faded. Townies murmuring respect. Matthew's eulogy echoed his banquet poise. Dad wasn't perfect, hell. None of us are. But he fought for his field, his family. Taught me to play fair. Love hard. Voice cracking on the last. Aiden's hand in his pocket. Anchor unseen. Graveside. Under pines sighing dirges. Matthew broke. Sobs muffled in Aiden's coat. He said he was proud. Last words. Aiden held tighter. He was. Always. They scattered ashes at the quarry. Coach's wish. Where boys become men. Water lapped solemn. Wind carrying whispers east. Back in the bay. Grief bloomed slow. Matthew channeling into coaching. Aiden into elegies. Fathers and fields. Legacies in the dirt we till. Spring healed. Tentative greens pushing through frost. Agency matched them. Sarah, a graphic designer from Berkeley, warm laugh and values aligned, open adoption, shared holidays. Your story inspired me, she said over brunch, belly just rounding. The book. Gutsy. IVF cycles synced with readings. Matthew's tournaments a blur of cheers and ultrasounds. It's real, he breathed at the first heartbeat, hand on Aiden's over the curve. Our kid. Aiden's memoir film option greenlit. Indie director. Queer cast. Script reads in Silver Lake. Matthew flying down for weekends. Dad's on set, paparazzi quipped. But they owned it. Red carpet debuts. Aiden's speech at Sundance. This is for every closeted kid in every auditorium. Your stage awaits. Summer crown triumphs. Fractures shortlisted for a Stonewall. League championship with Matthew at helm. Rainbow armbands on the team. In honor of pioneers. Sarah's due date circled August. Nursery painted sage and sky. But climax crested dramatic. Labor hit at 3 a.m. Monsoon pouring as they raced to the hospital. Hours blurred, grips white-knuckled. Matthew coaching breaths like plays. You're a champ, Sarah. Aiden paced halls, calling Mom. It's happening. Dawn broke golden as cry pierced. Tiny, furious. Theo, named for the fan who'd sparked Aiden's tour, but mostly for God's gift. 6 pounds even. Tuft of blonde like Matthew's. Hazel flecks echoing Aiden's. They held him first together, bundled in blue, fingers dwarfing his. Hey, little poet, Aiden whispered, tears salting lashes. Matthew sob-choked, Coach woulda loved this. Granddad Theo, Sarah beamed from bed, exhausted radiant. He's yours. All heart. Parenthood was chaos concerto, sleepless symphonies, diapers daisy-chained, Milo sniffing curious. Nights, Theo nursed. They traded verses. Matthew's lullabies of touchdowns, Aiden's rhymes of roaming stars. To hidden selves and stages seized, Aiden murmured one midnight feed, Theo's fist clutching his finger. Betrayals? Faded footnotes, Elmwood a memory map. Not chain. They visited summer 27. Town evolved, GSA murals on the high school. Coach's field renamed Ellis Legacy. Rainbow goalposts glinting. Theo toddled there at 3, kicking mini soccer balls. Aiden reading poems under bleachers. Daddy's stage, the boy lisped, pointing the auditorium. Matthew scooped him high, where it all started, and where we keep going. Years unspooled tapestry rich. Theo's first poem at 5. Daddy loves daddy. That's the team. Recited at family picnic. Ants clapping misty. Aiden's shelf groaned Pulitzers. Matthew's halls of fame for inclusive coaching. They fostered teens. Queers adrift. Building a village from their village. One golden October. Auditorium Redux. Elmwood invite for Theo's school play, but they turned it collaborative. Aiden headlining a national youth lit tour. Matthew coaching integrated camps. On stage in a packed SF theater. Theo center. Aiden beside. Once, a boy hid. Until love lit the lights. Crowd hushed, then roared. Backstage. Matthew pulled them close. Family forged. 3 hearts sink. Our climax, he whispered. Aiden kissed his temple, then Theo's curls. And the encore's endless, in America's beating heart. Their tale whispered human truth. Love's not linear triumph, but winding road of reveals, dramatic falls, emotional rises, romantic redemptions. From Ohio shadows to California suns, They shone, unhidden, unbroken. Humanity's grace? In the choosing daily, defiantly to love loud, live true,